Thank you, Debola, for that report. And joining me in the studio is a behavioral and cognitive therapist, James Komolafe, who will be speaking on these matters. Welcome to NTA International News.
Thank you so very much, Comfort. Good to be here again.
Thank you. As you know, community transmission has been trending in Nigeria despite repeated appeal to abate it, and it's still going on. What do you think can be done to check this? Because cases of coronavirus is still rising in the country.
Coronavirus?
Yeah.
The pandemic. I wonder on very many occasions when we say COVID-19 pandemic, we hardly remember the word pandemic behind it. Pandemic essentially meaning it's everywhere in the world. But much more importantly is that being pandemic means it has the capacity and the propensity to cause pandemonium, where in the homes, in the families, in the neighborhood, in the communities. So lockdown or no lockdown, when you don't keep to the precaution at any level or at any rate, the spread keeps going on. So that is why all hands must be on deck to have a harmonious front, because when coronavirus pandemic is at work, it hates a situation where you have harmony. Coronavirus, as a behaviorist, I know that coronavirus hates a situation of harmony. He doesn't like a harmonious relationship. And what do we mean by this harmony? It's existent on 3 levels. That's why from the SABA Resources, we came out with a global model and a global appeal to not only flatten the curve, but to deaden it at the end within a short scope. And what do we mean by this? The triangular model of COVID-19 flattening of curve in the communities and families is very imperative. The triangular model and the circular model. Now, what's the triangular model? COVID-19 pandemic, like I said, fights harmony, and this is existent on 3 levels in the families, which can be cascaded up to the communities. So what are the 3 levels? Look at a triangle where at the apex you have the family, which is the basic units of the society, and then the 2 bases down, you have the lifestyle on one hand and livelihood on the other hand. Where coronavirus finds at the apex, the family life, there is consensus as to what holds sway at this time of a new normal, and then at the basis where you have lifestyle, the way and manner of approach, the new behavioral pattern that is very integral now, you have cooperation there, and at the other side of the base of the triangle, you have a carefulness. Then you have handcuffed coronavirus. You have, by and large, capture its capacity to spread, whether there's lockdown or not. So what is on ground now is that if there could be a policy framework that would drive this effort, then we will give less work to NCDC to do. NCDC have done a great work. They are not sleeping. The presidential task on COVID-19 is not sleeping, but we can support their effort, not just by creating NCDC offices in the 36 states of Nigeria, including FCT. We should also, by and large, especially NOA, should come out pop and plain on the triangular model.
There are a series of measures that have been put in place by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, and that's physical distancing, compulsory use of face masks, and of course, few market days. Do you think any of these measures can actually reduce community transmission?
Definitely, Comfort. It would. That is a necessary condition. But there are 2 conditions we need. The necessary condition is being masterminded, and we read it, we hear it on the tube, on the TV, and all of that. We must go from those necessary precautionary conditions to drive it home in the family, in the neighborhood, then to the communities, to what we call sufficient conditions. So what are the sufficient conditions? They are what we call, in SABA Resources, the predetermined conditions, where what NCDC and government is doing, they are all necessary. We know them and we are doing them. But despite this, we are still having infection here and there, and the flat keep going up.
Okay, so with that, what's your observation about the curfew right now?
Yes, the curfew is good. But what we are saying is coronavirus, by psychology and physiology, does not understand whether there is curfew or not. It's only waiting for who breaks the head in order to bite. So we must keep in place the precautionary measure and the predetermined measure. And the predetermined measure can be found in the triangular model, where the family at the apex of the triangle has a consensus agreement as to what holds in that family, and then at the two bases, the lifestyle and the livelihood, there is cooperation on one side and carefulness on the other side. Now, that's for a family. When it goes around a circle,
Dr. James, I'm afraid this is how much we can take right now on the news. We'll hope to have you in the studio to talk more about that subsequently. Thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you so very much.
All right, we've been speaking with Dr. James